That was even easier than I thought. Poor idiot. Poor idiot. Poor idiot.
I will yield to none. I'm ready. for me.
I sense something nearby.
Here lies Withermore the Sage. Here lies Withermore the Noxious.
nearly kicked the bucket this and didn't think I'd miss his grumbling and boasting, but...
You hear them, don't you? The little ones are everywhere.
This is very good, thank you. Our blessing.
You go. You survive the journey.
We
I
survived.
see it.
And
And
soon we
thank you.
leave.
Wither! Wake up!
And? Have you found them? Did you bring the soul jars?
It's peaceful here, but I'll not be sorry to see the back of these swamps.
Go home. We'll be safe. We won't have to fear again.
It's peaceful here, but I'll not be sorry to see the back of these swamps.
Did you see? Garrett's back. He's here to take us home.
Divine blessings. It's good to see Gareth safe and sound.
They reside in a vault, hidden on a beach to the northeast. I wish my direction. Bracca's had his favorite...
Hold it together, Leia. You're doing great.
It's good to see you. We were afraid. We were so afraid.
That was even easier than I thought. That was even easier than I thought. That was even easier. That was even easier than I thought.
It's a riddle, isn't it? A conundrum. What's it you'll have to solve? I thought you looked clueless, all right? Thing is, it's about the letters, isn't it? One for each thing. Yeah, sure. Hope you don't die. Well, nice to meet you too.
Careful! I've spotted a trap.
You see yourself in the mirror. It's quite a sight. And you thought Rivellon was flat.
You come to find. You come to search. But you won't find the way. A pity. I cannot help you. I only give the questions. I do not answer them. Brackus has willed it. Trompdoy must abide. You have met the unfortunate guardian of this vault. Judge him with a forgiving heart. Fate has been unkind to him. Do you wish to move forward? Listen closely and make your attempt. Brackus is a bloody, rotten, thieving, very, very awful fellow. Some even call him a cur. A cur is... Either you're very good at guessing, or the slightest bit clever. Let's find out for certain. Listen closely and make your attempt. Source is a scourge, a devil, a misery, a blight, a hex, a curse. And yet, the cure is... Perhaps you're not totally incapable after all. Or maybe Trompdoy told you the answers, is that it? Is he hoping you'll... It doesn't matter in any case. The path is opened. Go. I know little. But you have proven yourself a knowing traveller. I will answer what I can. Brackus Rex has charged him, tried him, convicted and punished him. I know not the crime, but he has been sentenced to remain in this vault for all time and to prevent others from entering. Trompdoy was and is a creative man. He knew petty magic in his day, but this he has used to carve this place out from a simple vault, myself included. Brackus Rex discovered the way. This he researched here, upon this isle. He could remove the source from any creature or individual. I saw the staffs he used myself. They were most impressive.
not trying to escape, are you?
As you pick up the ring, you feel a cold, dark pain shoot up your arm. Your mind itches. You don't hear, but feel a whisper in your ear. It tells you to slip the ring onto your finger.
Yeah, that's plenty. Look at that wand. It hums with inner source. lucky find.
The jar before you glows with a blue light. Its appearance flickers and changes. It is at once a brightly coloured motley, and also you hear roaring laughter and shouts, then the hush of silence. You think you can hear quiet. With a jerk, your mind is pulled to a beautiful palace court. It's filled with cheers, but you can almost taste the fear in the room. You see a jester prance in the court. He casts illusions, playing to his master's cruelty by picking on the weakest in the room. He lives for the scene spins, a new face, a new fool to make his master laugh. Don't worry, he's told, you'll always have your place. The door closes, and you see the illusionist in the dark of this dungeon. Your hand falls from the jar, your skin prickling and cold after the vision. To die down here would be terrible. To live down here for eternity, you shudder at the thought. Something inside you strains. You are replete. You cannot absorb.
You made it all this way.
He trembles and seems to shudder with a quiet sob.
I'm cursed, you know. Bloody Brackus bound me here to protect his vault. As long as the jar stays unbroken, I can never truly die. I don't rightly know. This was the Source King's way. Befriend you, then destroy you. I was a fool to accept. His favor was intoxicating. That's no excuse, but it is the... Really? You would?
He drops to his knees before you and grabs onto your feet.
Thank you.
The soul jar stands on its plinth, glowing softly. From within, you see, or rather, you feel, a far-off land. Frozen breath hangs in the air, pine needles brush your cheeks, and in your vision swims. You're older, but perhaps not wiser. You march at the head of a shambling host, the enemies of Bracca's wrecks melting before you. The scene twists again. Now Bracca stands before you, a beautiful woman at his side. You lash out in treasonous rage, but cold arms bind you. You're sealed away. You feel a jolt and open your eyes to see the soul jar before you, lying still in the vault. Your hand falls from the jar and grips the pillar as you try to calm your ragged breathing. A human spirit slips from the ruins of the jar. Decked in necromancer robes, she turns to you. Bow.
My eternal thanks, young one. Oh, timely death.
The jar on the plinth before you seems ancient, but is in surprisingly good condition. It's covered in pictograms the pictograms spin to life, and you're dragged into a dream. You see the lizards of the ancient empire as you roam. The human apes turn away from you. All but one. One smiles, one opens his arms, one he promises power for a price. He picks off your golden scales, one by one, stripping you down to the bone. He promised you try to fight, try to reclaim what's yours, but a woman takes you by the hand. He promised he'd take me home, you cry. You are home, she smiles as she seals the door. This is where you belong. Your hand drops away from the soul jar, your skin prickling. In the back of your mind, you hear a small, scared voice whimper before fading to nothing.
Lucky find.
The pictograms on the jar stand fixed and still. This jar glitters and glows. From within, you think you can make out the with a jerk, your mind is pulled to a scene in a tavern. You see a dwarf in the center of the room, joking us all around raw with laughter. All bar the zombies, who are slavishly serving food. The door opens, and a tall, beautiful woman stalks into the room. She's flanked by heavily armed guards. The dwarf mutters a word, and the undead lurch towards the intruder, but are cut down like wheat. The dwarf tries to run, pushing her friend as she's dragged away to a tower. You hear her cursing Bracca's Rex and his whore. Even when she's thrown inside and the door sealed, you pull your hand away from the jar, your head swimming.
Lucky find.
The jar before you may have looked opulent once, but no longer. Now it's covered in grime, its paint chipped away. The soul jar rocks slightly, light flashing from underneath its lid. On its as soon as you touch the jar's cracked surface, you see a vision of splendor, silks, fine food, and decadent lechery. But underneath it all lies bone and blood. The vision shifts. You see burning villages, slaughtered women and children. You see her, purging wand in hand, standing amongst it all. She throws her head back and laughter echoes in your skull. A shadow falls across her, and you see a large, weeping face. She reaches out as if to comfort, but Bracca drags her back. You see her fall into the mire of the swamp, trapped. As you pull your hand away, you can feel a deep, longing sadness in your soul. Is it regret or just sadness?
Good find.
The jar sits still. It seems inert. Something inside you. The jar sits still. Gratiana's soul flits through the air, eyes wild and desperate. She turns to you as her spirit starts to fit.
But I'm not ready. No, you can't. No!
The deity's head and hands are missing, severed as if by a sword. You can't tell if this was meant to be symbolic somehow, or a mere act of vandalism. As you take in its chiseled details, you have a vision. The statue comes to life and embraces you awkwardly with its broken arm.
That shrine seems to have brought me here. What is this place?
The ethereal figure before you raises the visor of his highly polished helm. Beneath it, his handsome face is weary, yet his eyes burn fierce and bright. He glowers at you with disgust.
You pray not at my shrines. Can't say I'm surprised. You, my most wayward cub.
He spits over his shoulder, folding thick arms across his steel-bound chest.
You don't recall me, do you? I am Rallick, prime among the seven, and father of all humans. Father of you. I preferred you as a child, pious and devout, remember? I called you to follow me, and so you did.
Rallick gazes at your upright form, a contemptuous frown creasing his face.
Look at you now. My child, a killer for hire. You can't hide. I see the dead who whisper your name as they pass the threshold of the halls of echoes. And who's to blame? I know you blame the gods, but what blame can the gods take for the actions of men? The gods didn't make you into a mercenary, but nor did the gods make you refuse to kill that elf in Fort Joy. Oh yes, I know about that. You're a paradox, Ifan. And who's responsible?
He stares deeply into your eyes. As you gaze into his deep green eyes, you feel your whole consciousness following. You notice every shade of stone within, from the verdant pools encompass you. There is nothing else, nothing but Rallick's eyes. Suddenly, a vision coalesces. You see yourself, the bright and zealous crusader you once were. You are breathless, scouting through deep forest. You are racing with a message of utmost importance. You make it to civilization. Too late. An explosion devastates the beating heart of the elven city. Ancestor trees thud to earth, strong trunks crack even louder than the horrified screams. A fetid miasma pulls the air. Gasping on the fumes, you are dragged to safety by a wolf who appears out of nowhere. He pulls you free, clawing an elven woman who gets in your way. She collapses, wheezing under the choking dust. She clutches your ankle with her hand, gripped tight as a vice. As you reach down to help, her hand falls away, lifeless. Through the haze, the death fog, you see her dead eyes, black and staring. Through her lifeless eyes you fall. You see them, Legion. The thousands slain that day, those you were too late to save. The hundreds slain by your own hand since then, mountains of corpses and rivers of blood. You see the motherless children left behind. The scarred slaves sold to the highest bidder. Choices you made, contracts you took. The army of the lost gaze at you silently, their loathing and reproach palpable. Encased in pitch black of deadest night, you know not which way is up and which way down. Vertigo spins your senses as you see the consequences of each choice you made, one damning choice after another. The guilt you tried to escape from lies here, bare, throbbing. It was waiting for you here all along, in this filthy chamber at the base of your rotten heart. Your pain pulses, ebbs and flows, undammed. You widen your eyes, striving to see further, but a stinging slap drags you back to reality. Rallick stands before you.
Pity won't bring them back. Nothing can bring them back. But you can yet come back yourself. Long ago, you turned your face away from all that is light. Turned back to me, and you could yet save others. Could save all.
Rallick slaps you again, full force. He stares into your eyes with challenge. Rallick closes the distance between you in a flash. Rallick punches you full in the face. You feel a familiar sensation as the delicate bones of your oft-broken nose give way. He catches your arm in one vice-like fist and dangles you above the ground. He laughs and shakes you like a rag doll. You feel rage surge within you, barely containable. Feel it electrifying the blood in your veins, pumping through you. You feel like yourself. Rallick smirks and releases you.
That's it, Ben Mesd! That fierce spark of zeal is why I chose you, why I saved you from that sinking ship. You tried to hide it behind apathy, but the light shines through. Embrace who you really are. Why did you become a crusader in the first place? You heard my call, not Lucian's. So fight for me. I need you. The Seven didn't abandon Rivlon. We are trapped here, powerless and squabbling. You, ruthless son of humanity, you will be my champion in the world. You are my God-woken. Don't let that spark become a flame that devours you. I chose you for your wildness, yet I can leash you if needed. I will grant you my blessing, fierce wolf. It will aid you on the path out of this place. And then, we will have words again.
Rallick steps towards you, solemn of face and bearing. He raises his right hand and presses it upon your heart. A surge of warmth and well-being rushes through you.
You may have noticed I've tried to help you on your journey. I blessed the water beneath your feet so that it would aid you. Now, you have the power for yourself. And this is only the beginning. More and greater powers await you, if only you will seek them. Only one like you can wield them. Now go, God-woken. Go with my blessing. Let it remind you always of who you are. My Crusader. You did not ask, but you received. Not all wounds are prayed for. Not all curses are deserved. In time, I will ask more of you. But now, your goal is simple. Survive. Escape the grasp of those who would imprison you, who would break you, who would limit your true potential. My child, you and you alone must rise above the reach of minor people. But before you lope away, let me ask. You are traveling with company, yes? Be aware, they are not your friends. They are your rivals. They are God-woken too. But you are the one who will be a god, none other. Keep your claws sharpened and your eyes bright and keen. See everything from two sides. Take the wolf that saved you, that follows you so dutifully. Watch him. The wildest animals often turn and bite the hand that feeds them. Oh, and Losa, that pretty little one you think of at night. Kill her now, and be done with it. Until we meet again, my child.
The deity's head and hands are missing.
I'd say we should stop to talk, but I'm swamped. Don't make much of it one way or the other, but the farther we get away from the joy, the better. There's got to be a way off this island. Sure thing, Chief. What's up? One of the gods? Really? Well, look at you go. What did they say? One of the gods said that.
Losa huffs on her fingernails and buffs them on her tunic, smirking.
Nice. I think I'll call my next song She Who Struck Fear in the Gods. And you? What do you think about it? You gonna neutralize the threat? Shuck off the liability?
Her face cracks into a mischievous smile. She capers around you, bouncing from one foot to the next, chanting.
You like me, you really, really like me.
She stops suddenly, goes rigid, then relaxes, smiles broadly, and leans over to whisper in your ear.
Psst. I like you too.
Deplorable surrounding for an agreeable conversation, but go ahead. Oh, don't tell me you've never heard the stories. The tale of my birth has been a bedtime staple for years, a dinner party favorite. Inconceivable. Well, listen closely then. One day a red sun rose, turning the desert sands into a blood-colored sea. When my mother, roused from dreams, beheld this crimson dawn, she knew the time had come and promptly gave birth to me. The sun rose to its zenith, but there settled, refused to descend towards the beckoning dusk. Instead, she hung there for 7 days and 7 bright, starless nights, so enamored was she with her little red prince. Indeed, I've been a married man since the day I was born, for they call me the spouse of the sun. She who is all life and beauty, she whose colour I wear not in cloth, but in skin. Isn't it just? A beautiful, beautiful story.
He laughs wryly, baring rows of shark-like teeth.
There are those who believe that little legend, you know. I'm not one of them. To tell you the truth, I've no idea why I'm red, but I do fancy I was rather lucky to be born a prince. My heritage made people celebrate my uniqueness. Had I been common-born, they might have just drowned me in a well. Why, thank you. You'll find I don't live up to expectations with remarkable frequency. Case in point is that I have a high opinion of myself because of my unparalleled skills and intellect, not because of the bed I was born in. Though I won't go so far as to deny absolute wealth has its perks. Absolute power, for instance. No wonder I seek my way back to the throne. More glorious than you could ever imagine. More glorious than I wish to recall here. Ask me again once we escape, and I'll tell you tales that will last us
The Red Prince takes on a reserved air, and you've the feeling he'd blush if such a thing could be noticed.
Secret of my soul, I said. What poppycock. Doesn't sound like me at all, not in the slightest. So drop it. Indeed. Rallick, if I'm not mistaken. Always was rather the slow sibling in the Pantheon, wasn't he? Because you're the very apex of your species, I assume. You really mustn't let one little god meeting go to your head. My goddess told me the same thing. Of course she did. But I do wonder, can a god be called a god still if they have to plead with another to assume the powers they seem to have lost? Of course I did. Only I'm not foolish enough to let it buy my loyalty.
Yes.
The menacing skeletal guardian looks at you wearily, then yawns.
So you dare defy the will of Brackus Rex, prepare to die, and so on and so forth. Let's get this over with. Why wouldn't I be? Every so often, some interloper goes and undoes one of Brackus Rex's curses, and I must murder the poor sod. I hope this brings the discussion to an end. I don't like being roused from slumber, only to be greeted by such banality. Well, I wouldn't have said so if they didn't. Can't eat, sadly. Food goes right through you. Too bad, too, since those fiery hogs gave me a hankering for a good pork stew.
She moans impatiently and taps her bony foot.
Yes, I know he's dead. I am still obligated to perform his wishes. He may not live, but the threat of his curse hangs over me. Where Brackus Rex is concerned, I take no chances. Now, let's get down to business. All of this talking exhausts me.
To none.
to none.
Flames are extinguished.